Okay, call to order our Community Development Committee meeting for February 9th. Who we have today is myself, Damon Mullen, our Commissioner Kip McFatrick, Commissioner Sandra Richmond, Township Committee members Paul Patel, our Director of Code Enforcement, David Elzer, Director of Public Works, our Township Engineer Jim Hirsch, and also as Township Solicitor Alex. All right, so we will move on to any public comments, non-agenda items.
There may have been a resident who wanted to make a comment. Jay, Commissioner Silverman.
Oh.
No, his resident. I'm not sure if his resident came. Commissioner, there might have been a resident from your ward who wanted to make a comment tonight about an alleyway. Okay. Is that person here, do you know? Jonathan? Okay, maybe they did not attend. Thank you. Sorry for the interruption.
We will move on to the approval of the meeting minutes.
No changes.
Okay. So we will move that. We will approve.
Minor change, the environmental advisory. The first line talks about the tree giveaway.
Oh, sorry. We're going back to the approval of the minutes. Sorry, what was that part?
Yeah. So the first line for the Environmental Advisory Council, it talks about tree giveaway, and Octorara is spelled wrong. It should be OC. They put a U in it, and so first line under EAC talks about a tree giveaway, and it should be OCTORARO.
Thank you.
Got it. So other than that one change, no other changes needed? Okay, so we'll move on, approve that. So we'll move on to land development. We'll start with 601 Davisville Road, Fred Beans.
Hopefully I can get this to work quickly. Helps if it's actually plugged in. I'm plugged in, yeah. And I'm happy to get started if you all would like. I know you have a long agenda.
Yeah, we can get started.
So good evening, everybody. Rob Lewis from Kaplan Stewart. I represent Fred Beans, who is the equitable owner of the property located at 601 Davisville Road. With me this evening to my right is Bob Jordan, our civil engineer from Woodrow and Associates. The members of the committee may recall that back in October, we first presented an application for a conditional use approval related to this property and Fred Beans' proposed renovations and reuse of the building. We all set?
For some reason, it's not connecting into your system.
Uh-oh.
My apologies.
It's okay. No, that's fine. I think I can get through this even without the display. So we first started this public process in October, and that was for a conditional use approval. The property is located in the commercial core zoning district, and the auto repair portion of Fred Beans' proposed use required conditional use approval. We had a hearing on that conditional use in November, and then the Board of Commissioners voted to approve that conditional use in December. Just as a refresher, particularly since we don't have the plan up on the screen, 601 Davisville Road is a little bit more than 6 acres, and the property is already improved, obviously, with about an 82,000 square foot commercial or industrial building that has been principally occupied by Premier Office Solutions, who is the owner, and Y2 K9's dog sports facility. As we indicated during that entire conditional use process, Fred Beans is purchasing the entirety of the property and intends to occupy a little over 52,000 square feet of that building. The Y2 K9 dog sports training facility will remain in their space. Fred will be taking the remainder of the space for a combination of back of house office an auto parts warehouse facility to serve his existing dealerships, and then the auto repair facility. The vast majority of what Fred is doing is simply renovation and reoccupancy of the existing building. There will be some minor improvements, cosmetic improvements to the building, reestablishing the loading facilities on that building. But generally speaking, it's just a repurpose of the existing improvements on site. No changes to access or anything of that nature. The only real physical improvement that Fred is making is the addition of about 10,000 square feet of impervious surface to the rear of the property, and that's for additional parking and storage of vehicles. We discussed it, I think, at length during that conditional use process. Because of that 10,000 square feet of additional impervious, we actually have to do a little bit of grading into the slope behind the building and put in a retaining wall. Our plans will provide for stormwater management for any new impervious surface, and we are proposing some upgrades to landscaping just in recognition of the fact that we do obviously have residential neighbors to the rear. There's very substantial existing vegetation between us and those neighboring properties, but atop the retaining wall that is necessary for that additional parking, we're doing a combination of privacy fence and evergreen screening along that wall. We're also doing some minor improvements along the streetscape. It's very desolate out on that streetscape because it is such a slope. If you've driven up Davisville and seen the slope leading up to this property, not a lot will take there. But we met on site with the township engineer and Mr. Pertel and determined that there was adequate room to put in, I think it's 2 or 3 street trees, and we will do a nicer ground cover as opposed to just having grass on that slope now. So we received a review letter from Mr. Hirsch in early January. All of the comments from his review letter will comply. We have no issues with complying with anything he has had to say. We're happy to work with him. And before you is our request for a waiver of land development.
Okay, just so we're all aware, you're just asking, well, you're asking for the waiver request for land development. It still means they have to do everything by code, everything that's in our books. And that's what Paul is doing. That's what Jim does. So the only step here, they don't have to record it with the county. And we're talking some extra parking spaces. It's the only thing. You're not building buildings or anything. So I just say for myself, I'm okay with it. You've upgraded from what the first meeting was, from what it went through with Jim, with the landscaping part of it and all. So they still have to comply. If there's a waiver, they do have to come in back to us. But they still have to do everything. It's just a matter of they're skipping the step of having to file certain things with the county. Am I correct?
Correct. It is.
Okay.
It's of such a minor nature that to repeat the public process seems overkill. And so instead, what we've requested is essentially be able to continue to work with Jim and Paul to make sure that the plans comply and we meet their satisfaction and just be able to expedite that process.
I didn't have anything as well. I'm okay with the waiver request. So we can move this.
We kind of move forward? Okay.
Great. And so we'll move this on to the March, the full Board of Commissioners.
Full approval for March, correct.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, so we'll move on, yeah. What?
Did you say there was an executive session? Okay.
Yeah,
Pat, just so he hears it.
what announcement? We met in executive session before the meeting today.
Prior to this meeting.
All right, so we'll move on to 3930 Commerce Avenue, land development waiver request.
Good evening. Joseph Consul on behalf of the applicant, Rias Bright Futures Academy LLC, who is the equitable owner of 3930 Commerce Avenue. With me is Donald Haas from Borgia Engineering. This is an application for a 2.35 acre property in the business center zoning district, currently improved with an existing 10,000 square foot office building and a full movement driveway on Commerce Avenue. There's no building expansion proposed, no new driveway proposed, no increase in building square footage proposed. The application is for the interior conversion of an existing office building to that of a daycare use. My clients are here on that to speak on that if anyone should want them to. We're seeking a full land development waiver on the installation of approximately 4,852 square feet of pervious playground surface. Addition to that, we're also contemplating the relocation of ADA parking, installation of fencing, and some minor site improvements. So we're here requesting a waiver from the development review and the traffic impact study.
Okay, as far as your, we'll call it project, the main thing is 500 square feet. You're putting a plastic mat per se over top of what's there to make it a playground.
Correct.
That's what it is.
And that area is generally actually parking lot today.
Right.
So yeah, there's no increase in impervious or stormwater runoff.
Okay, that's all I wanted.
Okay.
I thought that's what it was. I know exactly what you're doing, so nothing's changing except for the surface.
Correct.
No comments, I'm fine with it.
No comments here either.
Is this an appropriate venue to bring up the traffic impact fee?
This is where you bring it up.
All right, great. Well, well, I don't know. That's good. You only mentioned the development review. So regarding the traffic impact study, I'll call Donald to qualify himself and then speak to his response to Paul's letter of February 3rd. So please state your name and.
Donald Hawes. I'm a licensed landscape architect with Boja Engineering. Boja Engineering is primarily focused on traffic engineering, and I've worked with Greg Boja, president of that, for 23 years now. I've been qualified in other townships and municipalities in PA regarding traffic, specifically with PennDOT and interchanges. So for this project, we looked at the IT manual to generate what the anticipated trips are, knowing that there's going to be approximately 142 students maximum will be allowed at this facility. We came up with the numbers, and those were reviewed by Bowman, your traffic engineer. They seemed to be in agreement with the way we presented the data. They asked for some additional data on the existing use, which was a call center. There's no call center in the IT manual, so we went with an office use and made that comparison. So the difference that it generates then for your Act 209 fees is the PM peak hour. They wanted to look at the difference there. And it shows what feels like a large number of additional trips. What needs to be understood is that a daycare center is usually patronized by people close to their home or close to their work. You're not going out of your way to someplace new for a daycare. You want something that's convenient for that case. So what happens then is the trips that are coming to the daycare center are diversion trips. They're not new trips. They're just coming from work, stopping at the daycare to pick their kid up in the afternoon and heading home, or they're coming home from work, stop at the daycare, and then they go immediately to their residence, which is already in the township. So we're asking for a waiver of the Act 209 fees, as we feel this is not an additional load on the township roadway and the road system, but just regular trips that are already occurring. You just have a little extra diversion as they go to the daycare center.
Okay, that one I disagree with. That one, I don't think we're talking about that driveway and that piece of the roadway there. Just because they live in the township and they're going from there and they're stopping by there to go to work somewhere else, that's still a newly generated trip to that location, which is getting extensively changed, that whole street. Am I correct that that's Just because they live in the township, they're coming here to work, we don't know where they're working.
I would generally opine that that's true, but I mean, has Bowman had an opportunity to look at this? I would defer to their opinion.
Yeah. Bowman did review it, and I'm just pulling it up
Yeah.
now.
They only made a note about the Act 209, they didn't, I think that part of the request was additional data to look at the difference in the PM peak trips.
And you provided the additional data to Bowman at this
Yes, we
point?
did.
We didn't get additional comments back from Bowman as of Friday.
We responded on the 4th, the letter came the 3rd.
It's fine. I mean, I would wait until Bowman has a chance to analyze and assess in a formal review.
And let's put this, is that the only other thing we have here?
That's the only thing.
The traffic impact study and the fee.
Okay. We could, and this is up to the other people in the committee, we could move it forward if you and Bowman come up with the number between the two of you before the March whatever meeting. Yeah, and then if it's not done by then and Bowman doesn't agree or whatever, we don't have anything, then we're not going to vote on it. We'll table it then.
Yeah, fair.
But I want to know what Bowman says, if there's additional trips and how much money or whatever. They dictate it for us.
I'm fine with that. I agree with your insight about the trips. It doesn't mean that because somebody is coming home from work, that they are going to that specific location. And I do see that as an impact to that location, the traffic in that location. So I would like to see what Bowman has to say. Yes.
Is that okay with you then?
It
You
is.
work it out with Bowman and they'll tell you what the number is, a decrease or, who knows? So, and then, but we will put it on the agenda for a vote.
For a vote, yes.
It's just a matter of
Option to table
if
it.
they have to agree to our engineer. Is that okay?
Yes,
Okay. And that's it? That's all you're asking for tonight?
that's all, yes.
Okay.
Thanks.
Yes, let's go.
What's going on with you? Okay, so we'll move on to new business. 300 North York Road, Spotless Brands Car Wash Sketch Plan.
Trying to plug this PowerPoint in, so excuse me. for a moment. Alex, you wanna- It's not fitting in. Thank you. Hopefully it. Alex, do you want a handout? We have handouts as well, so I know that you have other matters on your agenda, so I'll get started. And we do have the PowerPoint handout.
You have a Dell? Is that a Dell?
I'm sorry?
What kind of computer is that? Is it a Dell, HP? Laptop? Yeah.
Mine is HP.
Hit the function F8 and see if that actually makes it connect. The function F8 key, hit the FN at the bottom left-hand side, and then hit F8 at the top together. Let's see if that works.
Thank you.
Probably not. It should. Whatever. Yeah. We can just get started. We'll look through the presentation.
Sorry about that.
That's fine.
These are all that we already have in here?
Correct.
Okay. Is there anybody in the public area that has an interest in this, who would like to see this? Because I can hand it around. I have this. No?
One more copy.
Okay. If nobody wants to copy it, we're good.
It is coming up in our control room, but for some reason, it's not going to our screen, so he's working on that. Oh, there we
why we
go.
brought that.
We have-
There we go.
There we go.
Nice job, control room.
Thank you very much. Wonderful. Good evening, Julie Von Spreckelson from the law firm of Eastburn and Gray here tonight on behalf of Spotless Brands Car Wash. First, I want to thank the CDC for allowing us this opportunity to present our sketch plan for the project, which involves the revitalization and reuse of the property located at 300 North York Road. The property itself, to familiarize you with it, is basically it's 3 parcels that combined form an entire city block. And it has 4 frontages: Easton Road to the east, York Road to the west, to the north is Cedar Avenue, and to the south is Center Avenue. So it's an entire block. It's about a little bit over 2 acres, 2.3 acres. And you probably know this site is the former Office Max site. Most recently, it was Savers Thrift Store. The building there is 22,500 square feet in area, and what is proposed is a state-of-the-art car wash, environmentally friendly, and it will be a revitalization and reuse of this building. So the plan is to actually reuse the building itself and make interior renovations for the car wash site. And before I get too far into this description, I want to turn it over to Ray Gargano. He is here this evening. He's the Vice President of Development and Construction with Spotless Brands, and I just want him to give a 2-minute overview of Spotless Brands and to let you know where else they're developing locally. Ray?
Thank you. Ray Gargano. Spotless Brands is a national chain. We have right now 225 locations open. We, in this area, down through Maryland, Delaware, and Northern Virginia, our name is Flagship. We are developing also, we have a large chain out west, which is called Cobblestone in Denver and Phoenix, and a couple smaller ones in Ohio and in Oklahoma. In this area, we are very strong, the #1 car wash brand in the DMV and in Northern Virginia, and we are moving up kind of the 95 corridor. In this area right now, we have a significant amount of work under construction. We just opened a site in Trooper. On Wednesday, we're opening a full-service location, which is very similar to the one we're showing you tonight in Phoenixville. It is also a repurposed building. It's an old Rite Aid that we've taken and turned into a full service, which you'll see here, the difference between a lot of us there. And in this area specifically, as you move up 611, we have several locations that we're developing as you move up north, and we have just purchased the Pete's car wash brand to also extend into the area. So we're making a real commitment into this area. And as we go on, obviously we can talk more. This is showing 210, we're actually 220. And this location will hire an awful lot. It will probably have somewhere in the 50 employee range. And, in working shifts, 35 to 50. And I think what else on from the flagship side, our intent is to become a staple in this area and be a good community member. Any questions? Well, I think as we go through, there will be some questions on how we operate the site.
Did you want to show some of the existing building and what would be proposed and give a little bit more of the actual car wash experience that is offered?
Right. So what you're seeing here is we'll clean up the site. I believe we're adding, and the engineers will get into that, probably adding some impervious. The way this will work is there'll be an entrance. We have a site plan. It might be the easiest way to walk through, then we can go to the elevations. There you go. What will happen, you'll see that our stacking area goes along the bottom here. We're not going to make major differences to the site. You're going to, oh, good. Oops, where's that? There it is. Oh, going to come in here and go in, and this area here is our wash tunnel. So as you go through the wash tunnel, that's what you're used to seeing. In most of these sites that have a wash tunnel to get it clean. Then you come out, you have a choice. This is very, again, similar to what you see up and down the roads here. These are free vacuums that are going to be sitting in this, generally in the same area as the parking that sits there now. Or you have a choice that you will loop around through here, back into the building, and these are 12-foot wide, 12-foot wide, 100-foot long moving belts that you'll pull your car into. You'll get out, there's a waiting area here. As they go up this belt, you're getting a full service. You vacuum inside, cleaning your windows, cleaning outside, making sure that it's totally dry and all those sort of things. Some of the neat things that we're doing here is we recycle our water. A lot of people do it. As time goes on, you see sites that are a little bit older, they recycle some water. We're recycling more and more as the process goes through. All the water, everything that goes on inside this building from a water standpoint stays, everything's tilted so it stays inside. There's no chemicals, nothing getting out into the storm system. And it is recycled into the wet. There's, I'm not exactly sure where they are, but there's underground tanks that do separation of the grit and the grime, and then it goes through an inside recycle system that uses a couple different methods to drop the rest of the particles out. It's used mostly on the bottom end of the, underneath and the bottom end of the car. The employee parking is here, a little bit down here, because this will have some employees. And and what you saw in an earlier shot, we will we don't have we have a set prototype what our brand new round-up stores look like. This one's different. So we're going to, a lot of times in something like this, like the one that we just did in Phoenixville, which was a Rite Aid, we want to work with the town and the committees and find out, what are you looking for, what do you want it to look like. We do, like I said, we have a prototype, but we are flexible. If you go to our Trooper site that just opened, you'll see we're working on that. That's a totally different look. But again, we work with the community and work with the town. So that's the general look. Again, everything's staying inside of the existing area that it sits on now. I think we have a traffic engineer here to talk a little bit about traffic with you. We have an engineer to talk about some others. I can answer any other questions as we go through, or if you have any questions now.
I would say put the whole thing on and then we'll come up with questions.
Okay, and so
Can you
Ray,
increase the size of that map that you had earlier?
Excuse me?
Can you increase the size? I mean, I have it on my screen too, but
Can you make that a little bigger?
wait,
She just wanted to see the site plan.
yeah. I don't know if I'm able to do this.
Go to the hourglass at the bottom. Keep right there. There you go. Yep.
There you go. A little more.
In the wrong business.
This is where you come in here. We have a lot of stacking here. This will never, this site, our busiest sites we have down south, we keep the traffic going through real well. We'll stack maybe 20 sites. We'll never get off site. So that's a good thing. There's a lot of car washes you go to. When things get bad, they start getting out in the street. This will never happen because we're just too far away from any type of street. This is the wash tunnel. All back here is offices and equipment rooms where we have equipment for all of this. And then in this area here, you loop around. And these two little sections have a dotted line. That's when you pull your car on. It's not moving. You get out of the car. That moves, pulls it onto a longer moving belt. And that's where the two crews, they have a grid system above with everything hanging down. They clean the cars. It's not a detail, but it's a full service.
where is the entrance for and exit for cars? Can you point that out,
The
please?
entrance is on the side right here.
So that's on Easton Road?
I mean,
From the
street entry.
Street entrance.
Street.
Oh, street entrance is
You're using the
existing.
the existing entrance, which is.
And existing entrance on York. We're not moving.
That,
We're not moving.
that's an entrance? I thought that was, is that new?
Excuse me?
Is that an existing entrance? On,
This is
on York?
an entrance here, it's existing, and this is an entrance here.
Nothing's changes as far as entrances.
No.
So the cars will enter and exit from the same place, from the same two areas?
Yes, no change. We have found, we are working on a lot of, we do a lot of existing buildings. We walk in, because we're seeing, when we're especially doing this type of design, and it allows us to walk into a town and do exactly this, is take something that's closed down and shut and kind of revitalize it. And, but we also find when we start messing around with entrances and exits, it creates havoc. So this is seen it because it's worked, and we'll keep it where it's, where the entrances exist.
And we do have some examples of sites that have been revitalized and reused. And this is one of them, if you want to discuss.
This is what we're looking at for here. It'll,
This is the existing building, but we do have other ones that
Yeah.
show the,
some of the ones we just done.
I'll get to those. Here we go.
Yeah, that's Vineland, New Jersey. We took an existing closed Rite Aid and took, this is the exit of the wash tunnel, 3 vacuums, and this is the exit for the full serve belts.
And then we have another example.
So the vacuums are free?
Vacuums are free.
Is there like a gate to prevent people
We
from?
manage it with the team that's there.
Okay, because like most of the ones I've seen, you drive through and you don't get to the vacuums until you've paid and driven through. This allows.
If somebody wants to sneak in there and get a free vacuum, I imagine it happens once in a while. But for the most part, we have the team, the way it's set up, there are people are on the section where you pay for the wash, or you're a member and your little sticker lets you go in for free. There's always somebody manned there, so that's one area. Then we have somebody at the opening of the wet tunnel to line you up and get you in like most washes do. Then we have crews in the dry areas to do the cleaning, but then we have another 1 or 2 people that manage the site. They're taking care of the trash, making sure that things are going. The interesting thing is, when you look at something like this is not the old style vacuums. These are not individual vacuums that make a ton of noise. They are worked out of a central vacuum system. So it's one big motor that we either put inside, or I think we're showing on this one here. That'll be an enclosure, so all the sound goes up and doesn't affect the with this type of setup, with the vacuums the way we do them now, with the way we do the blowers and we manage and point the tunnel exits, we have no trouble meeting just about any sound code that's out there. We have options. If we're up somewhere where it doesn't matter, we don't do as much, but as we hit areas that have residential, we have multiple steps we take to keep the sound well below, keep it below the required codes. The other thing is we're only open 8 to 8, so we don't ever run into, a lot of towns have like at 9 o'clock they drop the sound code down because of people, even if you're not close, you don't want to hear cars going and things like that. We're an 8 to 8, a lot of times in the winter we close even a little, but 8 to 8 is our regular hours.
Did I hear you correctly in asserting that there would be no stacking of cars in the streets to get in and out?
Our very busy sites that we have down in the Virginia that do this service, we've done tests. Actually, our traffic engineers went down there and they tested and counted and did on 4 sites, did we do 4 sites? And on a Saturday afternoon, when we have the busiest time that these washes are, the most we've stacked on the busiest ones is 20 cars. If you take a look at this, if you take a look at this, you've got 21 right there, and you have all this stacking going into the tunnel, and then you have all this overflow back here. This site will never overflow. Now, we have sites that sometimes something will happen, something will break down and do it. We have a ton of people here. That's when if something were to break down, we wave people by. I mean, it's part of their operating procedure. We don't let people come in if there's an issue. And, once in a while there's an issue. If there's an issue, we have We have steps to take so you don't get too many cars and people aren't trying to figure out how to get done. We make sure we get the site clear, get whatever's broken fixed, and then open it back up. No, this will never have cars on the road. It's just, it would be outside of what we've seen and what we do.
I don't know how you can say never.
Well, I'll tell you how we can, one way we do it. For us to get this backed up, this moves cars through too fast. It would have to stop because of the amount of cars. This tunnel will do, if we crank it up, can do something like 140, 150 cars an hour if we wanted it to. And what I'm saying is the amount of volume we project for this type of site, it's just, we know, we have a group of people that analyze these things and look at where it is. And what I'm saying is if you take a look at our busy sites, this will probably be, we would hope this has the same volume as our busy sites. But it's still, even if it hits those high numbers, the stacking is going to max out around
20 cars on the road.
20 cars inside here, right here, which is not the road. That's inside. For us to get, if 20 is our maximum on the sites that we studied, we need to be somewhere around 50 to get out on the road here. It's just, we just wouldn't see that happen. And our traffic engineer can talk to that, but it just doesn't. We have sites that will go to 20 here, and then the road will be right there. Something slows down, something goes wrong, you can risk it. I'm just saying, at this location, there's just no place for it. We just have way too many stacking foot cars. That's all. From our experience, from our very busy sites. We have sites down in that area that do a lot of cars. And I don't think, we're not projecting this one to do some of those types of numbers. It might, but it's still, it would have to be more traffic than our busiest stores we have, which is what we tested. And went down at the traffic engineers. So that's all. Anything else? I don't know what else I could do.
Just a comment, for clarification, the vehicles we're looking at there where you keep saying stacking, that's on the property. York Road is below that on the picture, am I correct?
York Road is here. Does York Road?
Yeah.
It's
center.
one way.
Yeah.
It's a one way, yeah.
So those vehicles that are on your plan right now are actually on property, they're not on the road?
They're all on our property.
Thank you.
Everything's maintained on our property.
Well, what are you looking for from this committee? Just presenting the presentation? What are you?
We were making a presentation. We wanted to talk a little bit about the zoning, and I can turn to the zoning map here. Get back to that. So this property, it's not working. This property is in the commercial core zoning district, and it's where the star is. You can see the star on there. And that commercial core is an interesting district because it doesn't allow a B8 car wash use, but what it does allow is an auto service use. And an auto service use can have a car wash. So a car wash is technically permitted here, it just has to be with an auto service use. So they could come in here by right with an auto service use and also have a car wash. So that's what's interesting about the commercial core. The property to the north, and you can see this property is surrounded by other districts. The property to the north on Cedar, the light pink color, and also then to the east, that's zone CMU, the commercial mixed use district, that allows car washes by right. The zoning below, directly below this, abutting below to the south, the reddish color, that is zone TC1. That allows car washes by right. So every property surrounding this property allows this use by right, and this property itself allows a car wash if it's in conjunction with an auto service use. So I think it makes sense, And it certainly makes sense at this property because this property is a larger property. It's over 2 acres. You can see that there is so much room for stacking on here. You're not going to have cars, as Ray described, out onto the street. We're looking to revitalize this site. I mean, right now, this site, you've seen it. It was the former Office Max, and now it's a Savers Thrift that's been vacant for quite some time. So we're trying to adaptively reuse this and revitalize this site. And we think that this use will do so, and we're going to spruce up the building. Here's some pictures of the existing building elevations to the left, and then to the right, some proposed architectural elevations. It's very, low key. It's not the bright neon color car wash. It's a very low key kind of earth tone colors, and it really fits in, and it's really going to make it a nicer look at this site. And the use works here. It works here. So we're just looking to see if we can get some support from the CDC in moving this forward to either, there's different options. There's rezoning to the CMU, since this property abuts the CMU. It certainly wouldn't be spot zoning. It would be keeping in character with the neighborhood. So that's one way to do it. There's also an interpretation from your zoning officer that a car wash use is permitted in this district, because it is, if it's an auto service use. So that's, what we were looking to discuss. And we do have a traffic engineer here if you have any questions with regard to trip generation or traffic. We also have our civil engineer here who can talk to you more about the plan itself. But again, this was a sketch presentation, just basically to talk about the use, to see if this is some, use that this board could support in moving forward.
Alex, I have a question for you. Can you comment on the potential for this to be a spot zoning case?
I mean, anything can be interpreted and argued as spot zoning, right? I mean, the key is to make sure that if you're changing the use for a property, is that you're looking globalistically at the rest of the district to make sure that the uses are compatible. So, I mean, I can't give you a direct answer at this point as to say like, oh, this is spot zoning, right? If you were to change through a text amendment your map just specifically for this property and not consider any other properties within this district, then arguably, yes, you have spot zoned, if that makes sense.
Well, I would just say that this property abuts CMU zoning to the north and to the east, and there's 3 parcels here. So it would be 3 parcels, a whole block being rezoned to CMU. And again, it abuts CMU to the north and to the east. Spot zoning would be if you were going to rezone this residential. There's no residential around here. But this property directly abuts the CMU. It also abuts the TC1, all of which allow car wash uses. So I would argue contrary, respectfully, to your solicitor, that this would not be considered spot zoning.
Any other questions?
I don't have any other questions at this time, no.
I would just say I'm against it for the fact that we've done everything we can to get auto uses out. I thought we didn't have any automobile stuff in TC1. We've been trying to a lot of this is rezoned. It was just done over the last 3-4 years through our planning commission and stuff. I just don't think that it looks good in the downtown for what we've been trying to do. I like the product. I love the product. I just don't like the location. And we've tried to zone anything out of the downtown except for downtown. This isn't a project that I consider revitalizing our downtown, what we have been trying to do. That's the only reason I'd be against the zoning and for it. But that's strictly me. There's 6 more commissioners. So I think even our other commissioners in the room, just give them an idea the way how you feel.
Well, I have a concern, hold the same concerns. This particular property where it's situated, the zoning was a deliberate decision, as is all of the zoning decisions. Where it is situated on York Road in Easton, in that corner, it would be a very high impact on the neighborhood, and while I want that property to be revitalized, that would be a very heavy impact on the neighborhood and not in the way we're the zoning intended for it to be.
And I mean, I understand those comments, but I mean, as it sits now, it's an empty vacant building and retail has taken a huge hit. So this is a use that is going to look nice. The building will look nicer and it's a good fit for the site. And Spotless is a great community member as well. And they get involved with their communities. They hire locally. It would be a real benefit for the township, a real win.
Do we have any other commissioner comments?
Public.
Other comments? Okay, so.
You have- No, all they're doing is asking,
President.
they just gave us a plan. We can't, any individual can say yes or no, that they want to know if they should proceed. That's their whole point here. Should they proceed to spend money on this, or is the board against this? That's why I said each commissioner should say something, whether yes, proceed or not.
I would technically need to see the traffic pattern, because I drive on Cedar Avenue to go to Giant all the time. It's not the best traffic there. So you can have your traffic study, but until you experience it and adding this additional information there, the cars, the car wash, I can see that having a negative impact on all that traffic in that area.
I think from a standpoint of what this would be, if it could be reopened as retail, 20-some thousand square feet of retail, I think our traffic, and quite honestly, is, one thing about a car wash is it paces things. It brings things out at a certain pace. So sometimes, I would say a lot of times our impact is less. And again, we have a traffic engineer here that could comment on that. And we look at a site like this and we see a lot of opportunity, and we do feel like we are a benefit to the town. So I understand your comments. I get that. It's just that we would like, if you could see some of the things we're doing in other places and the way we engage with the community, I think we do go in that direction. And the fact is that auto use can go here, right? Just not us. I mean, not car wash.
If it's with an auto service
If it's with auto
use.
So it'll be a different type of auto. I mean, if Aldo does decide to go into this space, they can do all the service. So we're thinking our auto, even though we're an auto-centric use, a little less impact on it. But it's just our thoughts.
Any other questions?
Any other questions, comments?
Okay.
All right.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for your time.
Yep. We'll move on to 35 North York Road proposed redevelopment.
Thank you.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Stephen Klein with Regan Klein Cross Architects. I'm here with the property owner, Gil Barzeski of Elkins Park LLC, who owns the property at 35 North York Road. We're going to go through a quick presentation. We're here for a sketch plan review with the Board of Commissioners. Try to get some feedback and some direction onto our next steps for this project. So in front of you is a presentation about 6 sheets. The first sheet shows an aerial, and you'll see a blue line which connects our property, which is designated with the blue arrow on the bottom right-hand corner. The property is located at the corner of Church Street and North York Road. That line between the train station and our property is just over 900 feet. And you see the apartment buildings that were built prominently across the street from the train station. Gives you some orientation. Our next plan, or our next drawing, is an aerial of just the site, and you're seeing Old York Road to the left along here, and Church Street along here. Our property is this kind of L-shaped, I'll call it, property. It currently houses a 2-story building, which was previously occupied by a dentist office. Currently not yet. By a dentist office, and there's a parking lot in the back. We were approached by our client to look at this and come up with a mixed-use project, which is what we have in front of you today. The project this gives you a blow-up of the zoning map. The red circle is our property. That property is on TC2. And surrounding the property, you'll see more of the gray area as you go further south on North York Road. Just to the top of our property in the residential street is R4. And then across the street, Church Street, is TC1, which they were just talking about. So we've come up with a layout that incorporates some retail space and apartments. This is a 3-story building that we would be proposing. Just to give you a little bit of orientation, you have Church Street to your left and North York Road to your bottom. The property does slope, does have a grade change from the York Road going back towards Church Street. That grade change is about 6-7 feet grade change from North York Road going back off of Church Street. In the front of the building would be a retail space that would be right on the street. Then you can't really see this in here, but you can certainly see it on the drawings I printed out. This would be an area designated for amenity space and ancillary spaces that would be for the apartments, such as utility room, package room, fitness center, leasing office, and so those type of things that are ancillary to the apartment building. We show the capacity of 13 parking spaces in the parking lot. And you'll see in the next few slides that the building footprint is basically a rectangle which runs all the way through here, down this way, and up like that. This part of the parking lot over here is going to be out open air. So once you get underneath the building and past the building, you'll be out in open air parking. The next plans, and I'll zoom in here. Whoop. So both floors consist of the same setup. There's a mixture of 2-bedroom units and small and medium-sized 1-bedroom units. The 2-bedroom units are the blue units that would be in the front. Those would be just about 1,000 square feet. The green units that are shown here are 1-bedroom units. Those would be in the 650 to 700 square foot range. And then the junior 1-bedrooms, which would be on the left-hand side in the reddish or orange color as it sees on this screen, would be just around 600 square feet, which would give us a quantity of 8 units per floor, and there would be 2 floors of that setup. We did our parking counts based on as if we were within the distance to the train station, where we would only need one parking spot per unit. That would be one of the variance requests that we would be looking for, or an in lieu variance request just for the additional parking that the normal parking count would require. But in this count, on the sheets that you're seeing before you, we've anticipated that parking count, and we also used the shared parking analysis in your zoning code for the timing of the different uses. And as it currently shows, you can see here that the most capacity for parking would be on Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. to midnight, and that would be 21 spaces required. We're showing 13 spaces in our parking lot, and we would be looking for, we have a deficiency of 8 spaces.
I have a question.
Shoot.
How many of those spaces would be designated for handicap parking and not available to the general populace?
I'm sorry, say that again?
How many of those parking spaces are designated for handicapped and therefore not available to everyone?
We show 2 spaces. So, but the handicap spaces are considered part of the overall parking count in your zoning code. They're not excluded as part of separate parking.
And on that map, can you count the 13? Because I'm having trouble counting the 13.
You have 10 along here.
Okay.
And then you have 3 parallel parking spaces up here.
So is that 15?
There's actually more than that. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
So the 13 doesn't count the ADA spaces.
It does not, but they would be counted. We would be showing a total of 15. Yeah, I understand.
Thanks for the clarification, because I was trying to connect
Sorry.
the dots.
Thank you.
Question, what kind of retail would you envision in that space there?
Not sure yet. I can bring up Mr. Barzeski so he can speak to that. He's the actual property owner.
Yeah, sure.
And we
Good
have-
evening, my name is Gil Barzeski. I'm actually the owner of ERA Holding. That's the owner of the company, not Elkins Park. Just correction. And I own also, I'm partner also of the computer store right next door.
Okay.
And part of what we're thinking is to move the computer store because we need less retail. It's 5,000 square foot building. We need less retail. We're gonna move the computer business to the right side, and then we'll decide what we do with the next door building.
That property he's talking about is at 37 North York. That's on the other side of Church Street.
Oh, okay.
So that's part of the consideration. It's gonna be some professional service.
Okay. Thank you.
So the assumption is during the daytime, when people come to this retail shop, they're going to park in the residential parking lot.
Correct. That's currently what happens now with the dentist office. The parking is behind the building.
But this is the dentist office. Now you're talking about retail in addition to residential. So you're not really
Yes.
comparing apples to apples.
I'm sorry?
You're not comparing the same thing. 'Cause this
No,
is
no,
the-
no, I'm just
yeah.
talking about the juxtaposition of the parking
Yeah.
to the use.
Yeah.
That's all I was talking about. Yes, I realize the overall scope of the project, or the property has changed, I agree that. Oh, there was one more slide. This slide shows a cross-section of the building along Church Street. To your right, to the right of the drawing is North York Road. And you're going uphill on Church Street, you can see where the parking would be accessed off of Church Street. Currently, we're roughly in the same location where the existing parking lot for the dental office is located. And then the apartment buildings, the apartment floors would be above that. And there would probably be an accommodation for access to the retail space from the parking lot through the building.
I'll just speak for mine. I would be against this. Parking's a premium. Church Street, there's parking on one side of the road, which is just about impossible coming down the hill. I used to live there. I know this area extremely well. the street behind it, parking on one side of the street. I think the streets are 24 feet wide. Hard to get down with a trash truck if somebody's parked there. And I can tell you now, all the new apartment complexes, anything that we have built, we have gone one parking spot per bedroom, or bed, let's say, for each one. So on here, we're looking at least 20. Then you have, there's Saturdays, which everybody could be home. Now you have a retail that could be open. And then on top of that, on this property, there is just about zero where you could put any snow in a snowstorm like this. So all these people, there'd be several people here that would be on the street parking, which now there isn't hardly any parking out on the street because of this ice. That alone, I have never been on a board where we've granted less than one per bed. Correct, Paul? We have never given less than at least one spot per bedroom.
That's correct.
Yeah.
There was a provision, but that changed.
Right.
But isn't there still?
I think it's 1.5 now.
I'm sorry.
It's 1.5 usually at everywhere we've got, and that's not enough. All the apartments we've done is 1.5 parking spaces, and they are full and overflowing. I can name 2 of them right off the bat. There's only one place that does not overflow at that percentage. So I just don't like the parking per number of units, including retail on top of it. I get the sharing. Saturdays, you don't share. If they're open. Sundays, you don't share. I see it all the time. I've been on here for 30 years now on these boards.
Well,
And it hasn't worked.
I understand that, but also based on your own shared parking chart, I mean, the most intense parking based on that shared would be the Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. to midnight. No, it doesn't, the times that are on Saturday and Sunday are a few spaces below that. So.
One could argue that a lot of people work from home now. So if you're working from home, you're not leaving the house.
Well, no, I understand that. However, I'm just going off of what the calculation that was allotted to us.
Yeah.
I'm sorry?
Because you own it now, you could sell it. That could, yeah, if they put any medical at all, you'd never be able to. I don't care if it's a one-person doctor's office. It just won't work with the parking.
Okay. So I guess my question would be if we could achieve the amount of parking, whether it be through a shared parking agreement of a property that's within the distance based on your zoning code, which I think was within 800 feet.
You wouldn't be here. You'd be okay.
Well, we would still be looking for relief from you because we would want the consideration that the property there's de minimis change between the 800 feet to the train station as opposed to the 900 feet to the train station, because that gets us into the realm of the 18 parking spaces that are required for the apartments. Whereas if we were outside of that 800 square feet, or excuse me, that 800 feet, we would need more parking. So if we were able to achieve the shared parking aspect with, I know Mr. Barzeski has been in conversations with the church. He's also been contemplating tearing down the back portion of his property at 37 North and potentially making parking spaces there that would be used for this property. So if we're able to achieve that parking within the stipulation of what I just talked about, is that something that could be supported?
If you come in with a new plan that I can look at and see it, then I'd give you that answer.
Okay.
And I feel the same way. The parking is inadequate. There's no place to put snow. I don't see this being workable for a tenant trying to live their life.
I agree. Parking needs to be resolved.
Okay.
If you can rearrange things or whatever, and bring something back that way.
Okay.
But I kind of have to visualize and see it, because I know what the property is now, what it's been used for the last 50 years. Parking's just brutal.
I get it. Yeah, I'm not discounting that. It was always a contemplation of not our understanding was we weren't necessarily, even if we were going to the zoning hearing board, we wouldn't be going to the zoning hearing board and asking for 8 parking spaces deficient. We would be trying to reduce that somehow through what I just talked about regardless. We're trying to just understand is if we were able to get that shared parking and achieve some closer to this number, much closer to this number, are we still within the realm of being able to consider that 800-foot distance as opposed to the 900-foot?
I'd be willing to entertain it. Like I said, I'd have to see something.
Okay.
That's all. Okay?
All right.
Any questions from the public?
Any questions from the public, from the commissioners? Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
We'll move on to the last part of the new business, authorization to advertise bids for 2026 milling and 2026 highway materials. So Dave, you want to give your 2 cents on this?
Yes, I'd like to give permission to advertise, to put out to bid the highway materials, which is the 9.5 millimeter asphalt and the full-length milling, 1.5 inches to 2 inches for the roadways that were designated for the 2026 paving program. I'd like to put them, start advertising at the end of this month.
Okay.
And put it, and they can pick up the bid documents in March.
Okay. I'm in favor of moving that to the full board. Good, okay. All right, there's no old business, so we'll get to the monthly reports. Let's go to the Code Enforcement Department report.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have nothing to add to any of the reports. Be happy to answer any questions that the board may have on the monthly reports. Do have a few other things to report. On this past Friday, the Code Enforcement Office launched our online portal for permit submission, contractor's license submission, use permits, amusement devices, the renewals. We spent the past year working on that. The board did authorize funds for that. I appreciate it. But that went out on Friday. So everybody should have received that. So don't have any applications to date. But I'm sure we'll start to get some. So that's all I got.
Have you advertised that it's available?
Yes, yep. We sure did. Put an email blast out. It's actually going out in our newsletter this spring. Yes. So, yep.
Okay.
Live Friday, the 6th.
Cool. Okay, so we'll move on to, you guys have any questions? Nope. No? Okay, so we'll move on to Public Works report.
Thank you. In the packet, I believe you have my November, December, and January reports. I have one comment to make. The recycling worksheet for January. I just got the total invoice yesterday, and the reports were, or Friday, and the reports were in already. Actual cost of single stream for the township for January, let me find, I just lost it. I had 8,000, which was December's cost. January's cost is, here we go, $6,635.
Okay. Thank you for that. Any questions?
I don't have a question, I just have a comment. I love it when I get home 34 hours straight time after a snowstorm and see on Facebook, everybody's complaining they didn't do the whole road. They didn't do this, they didn't do that. I was out for 35 hours. I know our township employees were out for the same, that entire time. That includes everybody, not just police, because they're always out. But all the employees here, it was a very tough storm. I just want to say thank you to them. It was so tough. Other townships ran out of salt. It's just when you get sleet and freezing rain on top of it, it's just really hard to move. And do not run into a snowbank that has been piled up because it will destroy your car. I saw 2 of them already that hit a snowbank, a truck, and just destroyed it. So that's how hard it is. It took how many hours just to do in front of Burger King? One small block was hours and hours just to get to the curb following it. And we have, everybody complains they didn't get there. I don't think people realize we have over 200 miles of street in Upper Moreland. 20 plow trucks, if that. You're not running 60 miles an hour. You're running 15, hopefully. And it takes a while. And try and stay up that long and be focused with a plow on your truck that you can destroy things. They did a great job staying out there. Please let them know.
Thank you, Dave. We'll move on to an engineering report.
Thank you. Our engineering report and landscape architects reports are in your packets. I don't have anything to add, but would be more than happy to answer any questions.
I don't have anything. Sandra, you have anything?
No.
Okay, traffic, EAC.
Tall people tonight. At our January and February meetings, we started planning for Earth Day, which will be April 25th from 10 to 1:30. We also talked about the fact that the annual Bird Town report was completed on time, a day ahead, and hopefully we'll maintain our gold status based on the points we should. We'd also like to do some things for next year, which is now. We'd like to make people more aware of how important it is to keep outdoor lights off during the fall and spring migrations. Also make people more aware of actually window collisions and birds, and also just how incredibly devastating cats are to birds. They kill literally millions and millions of birds every year. So we'd like to educate people about keeping their cats indoors, which makes the cats safer too. The annual Great Backyard Bird Count is from February 13th to 16th this year. The event is sponsored by the National Audubon Society, the Cornell Lab of Ornithology, and actually also Birds Canada. Birds Unlimited is actually a founding supporter of the event. It's free to participate. I'm actually giving a couple of talks at the library tomorrow on how one can participate and why it's important to do so, and we'll illustrate some things. And also wondering in general about maybe doing some Zoom presentations to the public about things about maybe meadows, native plants, how to keep birds safe, so on and so forth. Wonder if there's some way to maybe do that. Obviously, you can just do a Zoom presentation, but wondered how we could do it through the township and, okay. Also, we would really like to have a free tree giveaway. And we had that kind of happening in the works, and then we're informed we can't use public money for that. However, a number of townships around us do that. So we're wondering how we can do that.
What makes those other townships different from us?
They'd have to be donated.
What was asked of me from our Parks Director was if we can use the funds for the fee in lieu of to use to purchase trees to give to our residents, and the answer was no. Those funds are supposed to be used for park improvements in the area where the improvement was made, but they didn't have the proper amenities, so those fees are used for that public purpose. They're not for sales to individual residents to plant trees on their own property. If the board wishes to allocate some funding for that, that certainly would be up to the board's discretion.
And you said the trees are donated, that's how Abington and Upper Double?
No.
I don't know. That would be my first thing.
They actually spend some outrageous amount of money. I believe it was 50,000 last year. And obviously, it's a larger township, but they've done free tree giveaways over, for a number of years, and they spend a lot of money on it. And I guess we also have money, not just in lieu of fund, but tree money, 16,000, I was,
That's the money that is allocated from the fee in lieu of money, I believe, to plant trees in parks in certain areas. Looking for John to see if he's here.
We get in lieu of money, but we give the parks a certain amount of that to plant trees in our parks.
That's correct.
Like 15,000, it used to be 8,000.
yeah, it was doubled, I thought, to 16.
Yeah, now it's up to, I think I asked for 15,
Yeah.
but they have to be planted in our parks.
So all of that money is from the in lieu of fund?
That's correct.
Okay. So is there any way we can allocate a couple thousand?
Well, so again,
It's a legal issue, I don't know.
What are you proposing? Are you proposing to take a couple of thousand out of the money the developers are paying in lieu of
I
planting
don't
trees
care
on the
where it
site?
comes from.
the question was, the fee in lieu of account that the developers pay is to be used for recreational services in the area.
Pretty much untouchable, right?
And that's what we've been using it for. The question was asked of me by the Parks Director, can that be used to purchase trees to then donate to our our residents for their private land? And my answer was no.
No, I also agree with that. I mean, it's basically restricted to your park properties.
Is there a way for us to go and research with Abington and Upper Dublin and how they're funding this tree giveaway?
They allocate money just for that every year.
In their budget?
Yes.
In their
So it's
general.
not the in lieu of?
No, it is
But
not.
can we get clarification?
I can certainly speak to them to see if it comes out of the general fund.
It does, I asked them.
Okay.
Paul will have to get, Kyle will have to get back to us on it.
Okay. Also, remember that meadow ordinance?
It's scheduled to be on the March agenda item.
March?
Yes.
Okay, that's good, thank you. And so we'd like to remove invasive plants from Veterans Park twice this year. We were thinking our first event would be May 17th. Of course, we'll check that with Parks and Rec. And also, we would really like to have a Facebook page, because we are doing more events now where we want to announce the event. We also want volunteers. One of our events, it kind of came up, we had no way, if we had canceled the event, to let people know about that, really. And I know that, well, almost all townships have Facebook pages for things like their EAC. And it's my understanding that our police department has one, and apparently so does our historical commission.
And fire department?
The Historical Commission maintains their own page. The Police Department maintains their page.
Can we do that? We'd be more than happy to maintain our own page.
Is that, do they need our permission for that?
If
I'm just asking you to do that.
It's more an administrative function, to be honest. I mean, I guess you could kick it to finance and admin for a decision, but it seems like you're just establishing a page underneath.
Page underneath your normal committee.
It's free.
It's free.
We're responsible for the information.
Anything that is on that page is a township communication, so, I mean, it's subject to the Sunshine Act and everything else, so, I mean, you have to be.
Do you have
cautious of
someone
what
on
you
your
put out.
committee who can create the Facebook page?
Oh, sure, several.
one of the issues that we had in the past was if people comment on Facebook pages. So right now, there's no, on our township site, there's no comments allowed on our Facebook page because we don't have someone that can monitor those comments to ensure proper content. I'm not sure, Chief does not allow comments on their page. That's the policy that the Board of Commissioners has developed years ago. And I would think if there's any content that's being put on a Facebook page, the EAC would have to follow our guidelines as well, where comments are not permitted. It's just
No
informational only.
Yeah, no problem. So is that a yes?
Don't you have to oversee all that?
Yeah, but that committee just ended.
Right? Anything that goes out. I mean, Didn't we appoint you on that?
No, the police put out information that doesn't always necessarily go through my office.
Arrest them.
Not everything goes through the manager's office, no. The departments are able to send information, well, they send information up, we review it, and then we'll put it out. There used to be separate pages for each department. That was stopped. But, so yes, I guess the answer is yes, it all goes through our office.
Yeah. I mean, that's our only liability.
The Historical
Same
Commission,
liability as any other subcommittee or subgroup of your township.
Yeah.
Historical Commission information does not go through the manager's office. They, if they have their own page, I know they have a page on our website. I don't know if they have a separate Facebook page or not. I'm unaware.
If all the other departments can figure it out, I don't see why this would be an issue.
Would you want us to send it through you, or, I mean, we can certainly not allow comments, that's fine with me.
Yeah, I think it would always be helpful to forward to my office first.
Okay. And that's it. Any questions?
No.
All right.
And Historical Commission.
All right.
Anyone from the Historical Commission? No? Okay. That is it for CDC.
Next committee will be the Public Health and Safety Committee.
You good? All right.
Condensed version of the committee.
Yeah, this is just us. All right. I call to order the committee meeting of the Parks and Recreation Committee. I am the chair, Sarah Burns, and I am joined by Commissioner Jay Silverman. And township staff member will be Jennifer Hartigan, who is subbing in for Katie Kohler this evening. Okay. Did the roll call. Okay, are there any presentations or announcements this evening?
There are none.
Okay. Public comments, non-agenda items. Does not appear so. Okay. Next on the agenda, approval of the minutes from the November 24th, 2025 committee meeting. Does anyone have any questions or comments on the meeting notes, meeting minutes? Okay, then I so move to approve the minutes. Okay. That means they go. They go. Okay, next on the agenda is the monthly reports. First is the Parks and Recreation report, which there are several since we hadn't met in a couple of months. Do you have anything to add to the reports as they're in the agenda?
So I'd just like to say that if there are any questions, I'll try to field them as best I can. And I do have a couple highlights I'd like to share with you tonight.
Please do.
Thank you. A couple of highlights from this past month. First, I'd like to say that, as we know, January saw significant snowfall. We would like to thank our parks maintenance staff in conjunction with Public Works. Our staff was out. They were called out many times in January. They were clearing emergency areas, sidewalks, roadways to make things safe for our residents, specifically January 25th through the 26th, when our crew worked 30 straight hours. Our 6 maintenance members works tirelessly and selflessly to clear these areas for our community and the walkability. They are still to this day, as many municipalities are, still removing snow from snowbanks from 2 weeks ago from this storm. Another highlight I'd like to share is that our congratulations offered to Spencer Cartier in our department. He is the recreation assistant. He was awarded with a full scholarship for registration to the 2026 Pennsylvania Recreation and Parks Society Annual Conference. That was something he applied for and was awarded, so that was exciting. And then I would also like to share that just recently, so we are planning many events for the spring, but just recently within the past week or so, I met with Pennypack Ecological Restoration Trust, as well as some other agencies along the Pennypack watershed. We are all planning to work together for a creek cleanup on March 21st. It will be a multi-agency effort. We will be contacting, letting residents know for volunteer opportunities, as well as bringing in the EAC and also the Shade Tree Committee to help out with this event. And then it will culminate at the Pennypack Trust Visitor Center, where everyone will come together, kind of discuss how the cleanup went, things that they found, have awards, just have some camaraderie in the fact that everybody's working together to try and keep our watershed clean. That's all I have from highlights from the report. I can take any questions if you have any.
Oh, I just want to kind of reiterate some of the comments that have been made earlier, thanking everybody for their support during the storms and the effort put forth to, clean up and continue to clean up. So pass along our appreciation.
Yeah, thank you.
Any questions on the report? You're good? Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Now the Library Board of Trustees report.
Good evening. My name is Tony Gianetti. A little bit about me. I'm representing the library this evening. I've been a township resident for 17 years on Ward 6, and I've practiced in the township for 40 years. I know I don't look that old, but 40 years. It's been a long meeting. I'll give you a couple of bright spots about the library, a couple of tidbits. People who read half an hour a day, and on average, live 23 months longer than those who don't. So maybe some of you had some time to do 5 minutes of reading here. Mentally, if you read, your cognitive ability increases by 32%. And finally, if you want to reduce your stress, and I'm sure all the township commissioners have had their fair stress tonight, go read a good book. You'll find a lot of comfort and solace. I want to welcome Jay. Jay was a member of the board with us, and now he's an honored commissioner, and so it's like a friend on the board. Really, the first thing I just want to say is thank you. Without every one of the commissioners' support, financially, personally, the library wouldn't be what it is. We have a great public works staff. I saw Dave and I said, I live in the township. Public Works did an amazing job with that snowstorm. But they do an amazing job with everything, with trash collection, our police department, our fire department. We truly are blessed to live in a great community. And part of that community is what you do for us. In the library, we're very proud of the library. I've been to a lot of libraries, and ours is one of the best. Kathy does a great job as the director, but it takes people. The staff is phenomenal. So with that, I'll answer any questions that you have, but mostly thank you for your support and continued support. I'll send everyone an email that will highlight all the things that I wanted to talk about, but in lieu of the fact that it's 9:15 and half an hour past my bedtime, I'll answer any questions that you have. Any questions?
Well, I'd like to hear one thing that you wanted to tell us.
So, one of the aspects of the library is funding. And so we have a Friends Committee, and our Friends Committee works very hard at funding. And they had a New Year's Eve event, and they raised over $8,000 at this New Year's Eve event.
Wow.
And in the past year, they've given us 30, Friends Committee has donated 30+ thousand, 30? Okay. So, $25,000 from the committee. So, to be a board member, you need to be a resident of the township. But to be a Friends Committee, you could be anybody who's interested in the library. So I know some people listen to this broadcast at home. If you're interested in becoming part of the library and not as a defined level as maybe a trustee, but you can become a Friends member. So, the Friends does a lot for fundraising, awareness, and so it's one way to softly get into the pool if you don't know if you want to swim in the water or not. So, but thank you.
That's fantastic. That's incredible news. $8,000 is
Yeah, that was great. And
significant.
A lot of people, and more importantly, it's a public service. People got to know what the library is. I know, I always say there was a township, a board member, and when I first interviewed for the job, he said, it's the library. It's more than just books. And if I ever got a tattoo, that's the tattoo I would get. It's, which I never will, but.
Never say never.
Yeah, because it really is more than books.
Right.
If you go on there, you'll see there's, you can get herbs and you can get, mixers and you can get, it's an amazing array of things. And I personally don't utilize all those services. I love the books. I love to read. McLink is my best friend. But there's so many things, and that's all because of your support. Without your support, none of that would happen, especially in this township. We depend so much on the support of the commissioners, and you have been so gracious in your support, so thank you.
Thank you for everything you've done.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate it. Fantastic. All right. There doesn't appear to be any old business, so we will move on to new business. The first being the Farmstead Alliance Annual Event Request.
Okay, so the Farmstead Alliance is seeking township approval on 4 events for 2026. All of these events will be managed and manned by the Farmstead Alliance. The following events include requests to have food or beer vendors on property and allow 2 of the events to be held in the park past dusk. So the 4 events they're looking to hold this year are a paranormal investigation on February 15th, Farmstead on Tap, an independent film festival on May 16th, Farmstead on Tap FIFA Watch Party, which will be June 14th or 27th, depending on the game schedule. And then the last one they're looking to hold in 2026 is Farmstead on Tap Crafts and Drafts on October 3rd, 2026. Request that you recommend these, would you recommend them to move forward to the full Board of Commissioner meeting in March?
Just for some context, Commissioner, thank you, Jen. Farmstead Alliance has an agreement with the historical section of Farmstead Park, which is essentially a square around the buildings. And they do many events where they don't require approval, but when they have certain things that don't abide by our ordinance, they have to get permission from the Board of Commissioners. Some of these events are why they're asking for this approval from the board. It's kind of a housekeeping thing. The board has approved these in the past. Unless there's any questions or specific information you have, I'd recommend we move forward with these as normal.
Okay. I'm looking. Okay. I'm just looking over the request and some of the, I see that there's some requests to the township, first kind of support items. And then do we staff this in any way? Is there a presence from the township in a staffing sense?
Yeah, and it depends on the event. So there might be an event in the fall where the township will place picnic tables out for them, and then we'll pick them up after, and also provide trash cans. And if the cans need to be emptied during the day, Parks and Rec would schedule an overtime worker who did park work and then would go over every other hour and empty the trash cans. So they weren't dedicated to that one location. There might be events where a parks worker is dedicated to that location. That typically happens when we're partnering with them for the event. We are doing something at the event and they are doing something, so the township bears that cost because we are part of the event and need our staff there. They, from time to time, will request porta potties that we either can provide because we have them in our parks and we can move them for a short weekend, or they will go out and rent porta potties.
Yeah, I'm in favor of moving these forward as well.
I'll put it on the agenda for the full board. Thank you.
The second new business item, Shade Tree Commission Native Tree Information Initiative.
In your packets, you should have a draft of a brochure that the Shade Tree Committee worked on together, as well as a letter, draft letter. The idea here is that one of the initiatives, one of the goals of the Shade Tree Committee is to educate the public on crucial information regarding native trees, planting and replacing trees. So the idea is this brochure was created so that when homeowners have a tree removed, the committee wanted to provide landscaping companies and tree companies with something to give to the homeowner or the business owner that would help them in understanding that native trees are very important, but also in giving them choices and ideas of places to find native trees, a list of native trees. So the idea here is to have something in hand so that the the company doing the removal could give that to the homeowner and encourage, or give them information if they were interested in moving forward on their own to purchase and replant what was removed. So the request here is for your review if you would be interested in moving it on to the full board consideration for the Board of Commissioners. And I can take any questions on it too. We, was fully involved in this creation, and the Shade Tree Committee is very proud of the work they did on this for the past probably 6 to 9 months, because we only meet every other month.
I'll follow that up if I may augment. The Shade Tree Committee was recently added to Upper Moreland Township, and it's run through the Parks and Recreation Advisory Council. And there's no funding for, I don't believe there's any funding allocated to that committee. Their sole purpose, their main purpose is to educate the community and assist with township trees and native plantings that are located on township property. In an effort to continue to educate the community, and they've taken some wonderful steps so far. I think what Jen is proposing here is that landscapers or other organizations can provide this document that was created by the Shade Tree Commission and share that information. That's the sole purpose of this.
And this is for residential, or I guess, or business?
Resident or business.
Or business.
That was the goal.
Did you reach out to any landscaping companies in the area to see the feasibility of them disseminating this type of literature?
So I know they created a list of people to reach out to, of local landscaping and tree businesses. I'm not sure we're at that point yet. I think we were looking to get approval on if this is something we could or should move forward with. But that's a step I could take back to the committee as well, to see the feasibility of, would they be interested in handing that out. I think also the idea, just so you know, is if this were to be approved, the idea was to do personal outreach, to go out to the companies on the list, to have a conversation, not just mail them something, because the conversation was, you get things in the mail, it might just go in the trash because you don't know what the purpose is. So we were discussing doing that personal outreach to go to those locations that they had created the list, to speak to people there and get an idea of would they be willing to, or would they be interested in handing these out.
Okay. And you mentioned that this particular committee doesn't have any allocated funds. Who would be responsible for printing this then?
So I would say that Parks and Recreation in their budget would be able to take care of printing this on our own township copiers, okay. Several hundred or maybe more than that. And if this is a program that takes off and we want 10,000 colored copied, the Shade Tree Committee would have to come back before the Board of Commissioners to ask how this may be funded. So while there's no funding, certainly Parks and Rec can assist with copying. Mm-hmm. But if it gets to a point where we want something printed, they would have to come back and give us a cost estimate and then ask the board if they'd be willing to fund this, and the board can turn to the manager and say, do we have an account where the funds could come from if it's a modest amount?
Mm-hmm. Okay. What are your thoughts, Jay?
I think it's a great initiative.
Okay, I agree. I'm okay to move this forward. I would like to see a little bit more planning around the dissemination. But yeah, I think it looks great.
I'm going to assume this will be something also that's posted on our website so people can gain this information.
Absolutely.
Okay.
It's on our website, and we often, for Shade Tree, send out informational emails to our groups. Thank you.
Okay. Oh yeah, please.
I think it's a great idea. I know I live in a neighborhood, as most of us do, where we have old trees and people are cutting them down. My suggestion in approaching landscapers and other businesses is to let them know what's in it for them, right? Because they're trying to run their business. And if you can highlight what's in it for them, maybe they could get the business for planting the trees. That might be an inducement.
Okay, thank you.
I'm assuming all these trees are readily kind of accessible by landscapers. Like these are things that they can source easily.
Yes. The idea is point them in the direction of native, and also on the brochure there are some resources. But also, yes, and you're right, sometimes it is harder to find specific native trees. There are local nurseries that stock specifically native trees. But some are very common and very easy to find. Others you would probably have to seek out more of a specific nursery, but definitely in the area you can find these trees.
Okay. Okay. Any additional comments from the public about either item we spoke about? No? Okay. Any other items this evening? Okay. Any commissioner comments? No? Okay. Then that's it. The meeting's adjourned. Okay.
Calling to order the Public Health and Safety Committee meeting for February 9th, 2026. We have here Vice President and Commissioner Susan Worth-Lamana and Commissioner Sarah Burns. We also have Grant Rounds from SARS, and we have Chief Glassman from the fire, and Officer Chief Bending over here. From the police department, we also have Alex Baumler, solicitor, and Pastasio Township Manager. We have no presentations or announcements. Are there any public comments, non-agenda items? All right, let's move to approval of the minutes from November 24th, 2025.
So moved.
Second, thank you. Let's move to the monthly reports.
All in favor?
All in favor of accepting the minutes from the November 24th?
Aye.
Okay. Let's move to the monthly report, starting with Police Department Chief Bendick.
Yes, good evening. Attached, you will find the monthly reports for the month of November and December. I'll just highlight one activity that we did have in December. We did have our first Shop with a Cop at the Walmart, which was a rousing success. I know it's going to be highlighted in our report and for our township newsletter. I did also compose a activity summary for 2025. The police department handled over 22,000 calls for service. We had over 1,000 total crimes that were reported to our department. We had 710 criminal arrests. We had over 6,000 traffic stops, over 2,000 citations issued. And additionally, we had over 2,500 bus patrol violations in the township this year. I'm very proud to say this is my first year with the department, and I'm really honored and pleased by the acceptance I've received from the department members. They really picked up a lot of their enforcement activity, really pleased. We've been trying to be very more proactive out there on the roads, which I think does send a very positive and proactive message to our community that we're out there for their benefit and their public safety. So if there's any questions that you have from my report, I'd be more than willing to discuss or answer any questions you may have.
Any questions? Commissioners?
Thank you.
No.
Can I ask Chief a question?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Chief, I noticed the other police-related for December 25, we had 79, you know, I'm always going to ask about it, unhoused persons. How's that looking with the snow and the code blues that you've been having?
We are seeing, on occasion, we are seeing individuals that are unhoused, and we're referring them to the appropriate locations. We've been doing very well with handing out the packets that we composed for individuals that are unhoused. But I believe we still do have a few of the bus passes that I was able to procure from the county to provide services and at least give them to the individuals if they needed transportation to a shelter of some sort. So it's been going very well. Again, we've been trying to be as proactive as we possibly can, but things have, again, it seems to have quieted down a bit. So we're very happy with that.
Do we have anybody sleeping in the park tonight?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other questions or comments? Public questions or comments? Okay, let's move on to Fire Department Chief Glassman.
Thank you, Commissioner.
It's just an interesting report because we didn't meet in December, January, so I'll try and summarize it as quick as possible. January 2026, the total of 88 calls. Our response time was 4 minutes and 2 seconds. If you put the slideshow on, every month I try to show a handful of slides of incidents that happened around the community. We got a fire on Mill Street, go to or Mill Road. Believe it or not, originated in a hot tub. Crazy part is that's the second hot tub fire this year. Next slide. There's the other one, Lakeview Avenue. Next slide. We rung in the new year at a fire, 324 Cameron Road. We actually watched the fireworks after the fire right in the middle of the street. Next slide. That's Alfredo and Laura, two of our volunteers at a recruitment event. We're out there capturing as many volunteers as we can. They also graduated from Firefighter 2 in December, so we're doing well with them. Next slide. There's a picture of Laura in the fire on New Year's Eve. She spent her New Year's Eve with the career people on the fire truck. Next slide. Acme Box on Turnpike Drive. We had a pretty significant machine fire. And next slide, I'll capture the 2025 total results. 1,167 calls. Our average response time to those calls was 3 minutes and 52 seconds. That's an awesome job. I'm gonna leave it at that. And the fire department generated $109,000, 109,058 for the year. That's how much the fire department generated in income for the township. And that concludes my report, pending any questions.
Any questions or comments? Public? Thank you, Chief Glassman. We'll move on to second alarmers, Grant Rounds.
Thank you. For the month of January, we had 345 responses in Upper Moreland Township. Out of those responses, 67% were transports, 8% were non-transports, which either are refusals, treat and releases against medical advice or with medical advice, and 25% are other dispositions, which are anything ranging from public assist, lift assist, medication assist, things like that, things that weren't in our realm of needing transport or a refusal. We had no pre-hospital, non-EMS naloxone administrations for the month of January. And that is a statewide trend. We're seeing less and less pre-hospital naloxone administration by first responder, either police or others. I think that could be attributed to the availability of naloxone over the counter. So people seem to be taking care of these problems themselves and then either not calling us or we're getting there and they're already better. So we're not seeing that. Our current EMT class started January 27th. We currently have 6 students in the class. It's going well so far. You'll start seeing them in our ambulances shortly for their field training. On January 19th, we participated with the police and fire department for a hiring event at the firehouse. We only had one area resident stop by to inquire about employment with us. Between January 24th, Saturday and Tuesday, January 27th, during the snowstorm and ice apocalypse afterwards, we responded to 187 calls for service, resulting in 112 transports. Our crews did an outstanding job working in harsh winter conditions, and we had great assistance from the police, fire department, and public works during the storm and even after the storm. Just this past week, we had a house that kind of had a setback driveway that had never been treated since the storm, and we were able to get public works out there with a plow. The fire department was out there with shovels. The police officers were out there with shovels, and we were able to get to the patient and get the patient out through everyone's cooperation. We appreciate everyone's help during these situations. We continue to ask that area residents contact their state representatives and urge them to support State House Bill 1152, which provides for patient protection, direct payment to EMS, and a state-regulated fee schedule for 911 EMS response. If you have questions on that, I do have some answers prepared. And Act 54 of 2024 includes a provision that allows municipalities in the counties abutting Philadelphia to implement and/or increase a dedicated ambulance tax millage to 5 mils. Previously, this amount was capped at 0.5 mils without a referendum and 1 mil with a referendum. SAR's request to the municipalities is for a 0.25 mil dedication. At present, Abington, Jenkintown, and Hatboro all have a dedicated EMS tax of 0.05 mils. And also, we attached our 2026 provider pay scale with a COLA increase. And that's all I have.
All right, and thank you. Any commissioner comments or questions? Any public comments or questions? All right, thank you, Mr. Rounds. We have no old business. We'll move on to new business. Over to Chief Bendig to discuss the proposed ordinance amendment for commercial motor vehicles.
Good evening. This evening, I'm joined by Lieutenant Ruddle, who actually oversees our traffic safety unit and actually created it. So I thought it best that she be here to possibly answer some questions I may not be able to handle. The first item tonight is an ordinance amendment for no tractor trailer traffic. This was initially brought to our attention by Commissioner Lockhart when she was on the board. The township code currently restricts the operation of tractor trailers on certain streets within the township. What we determined that a lot of those streets were not codified in our ordinance. So the traffic safety unit actually went out and did pretty much police the entire municipality, designating or locating streets that were not located or not noted on the ordinance, as well as seeing different streets that possibly should be designated as no truck traffic locations. So this evening before you is a request to adopt this new ordinance would be to adopt the definition of commercial motor vehicles in the ordinance, which would be in compliance with the state motor vehicle code, in addition to amend the section to no truck traffic. And would also revise the language, would then allow us to say that no commercial vehicles can be driven on these roads, clarifying the fact that that would not include school buses, local deliveries, or emergency vehicles. Officer Meisner of our traffic safety unit went out and did, as I noted, the comprehensive audit of the streets and is actually attached to the agenda summary. There are a significant number, actually well over 60 that were not previously addressed on the ordinance. So we're looking to have this codified. So the request is that the board authorize the solicitor draft the ordinance and present it at the next commissioners meeting.
Okay, thank you. Any comments or questions from the commissioners?
I just had one question. What does enforcement of the no truck ordinance look like?
So it actually would be, as far as I'm concerned, as far as it's basically would be, as long as it is codified in our ordinance, it would allow the officers to stop the vehicle and cite it under Pennsylvania Motor Vehicle Code accordingly.
Any public comments? All right, I think this is needed. I'm very much in favor. Are you in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
I
Okay.
violate it every day, so.
Yeah, all right. Then we would like to move this to the March meeting.
I'll ask the solicitor to prepare an ordinance for us, and we'll put it as an agenda item.
Yeah, we have enough time because we only have to advertise it once, so we can get it just under the gun before your next meeting in March.
All right, thank you. Next up, also Chief Bendig for ordinance amendment for Orangeman's Road.
Yes, thank you. Currently, the code designates restricting parking on Orangeman's Road in front of the middle school. This was done during the arrival. This was done for the purpose of arrival and dismissal of students to enhance their safety and maintain some traffic flow at that location. However, what we found was that people are not parking there. They're actually just stopping and standing, which is technically not a violation of the law at that location. So we're looking to strengthen the ability to strengthen that enforcement. So we're looking to amend that area to actually make it so that no stopping or standing would be permitted in that location, and remove the restricting of the parking at that location. So this would allow the officers to enforce that, and it'll also close the gap left by the current language in our parking-only language. And then hopefully that would further increase the safety perimeter around the school and make the children's exit and response or going to school a little bit more safer. So that's the purpose of this amendment to this ordinance. And again, we're looking for this to be moved forward to the March 2nd meeting with your approval.
Yeah, that seems very needed, in my opinion. Commissioner comments?
I just know that the administration at the school district has been struggling with the middle school drop-off and pickup flow of traffic, and the parents not following the prescribed way and doing the drop and run right there at Orangeman. So I'm in favor of this, definitely.
Definitely.
Okay, any public comments?
Alex, I'll ask the same.
Yeah, I can, yeah, we're in the same timeline, so I can take care of it. I did just have a question, just to clarify. We're just taking the current restriction language and moving it, correct? So
Correct. We're going to remove.
we're still keeping the southbound side.
Correct. It's just a matter, it's now instead of no parking, it's removing that section
And making
and changing it to no stopping or standing.
Okay, just making sure.
Gotcha.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Chief Bendig. The next topic is the Upper Moreland Little League season, and that is coming up. So wanted to have a discussion about safety measures for the season. The constituents have described conditions in the neighborhoods around the Little League where there is, there's increased traffic, increased families, children in the neighborhood crossing. You're concerned about the safety of children in the neighborhood with the increased vehicle traffic and sometimes speeding. There are also issues around the Little League field where there's some nuisance items where the loudspeaker might be taken over by a child, or there are some children who are unsupervised in the neighborhood doing what children do. And so I want to talk about the safety plan for the Little League season, as well as what we might do to work with the Little League manager on some of the nuisance issues and the children supervision issues and that sort of thing.
So yes, I know that we discussed this briefly. So we did pull up some numbers for that location to look at some of the crash data and the speed studies that have been conducted in that location and the surrounding side streets. At this point in time, we feel that the speeding issue is not really in existence. However, that being said, the safety of our younger residents is actually a great concern to our department. I will say when we looked at our statistical data as far as our traffic enforcement of the location, we did stop over 1,000 cars over the past calendar year on York Road at that location. So I do feel that there's actually some police presence there, which was really helping things there. I think when we look at the totality of this location, we did look at this, myself and Lieutenant Ruddle, a few weeks ago. We're going to possibly meet with the Public Works Director and look at the additional striping, or at least re-enhancing the striping for the pedestrian walkway in that location. I think it's something we should be able to do. I think it would be beneficial to the community for pedestrians. Also, I think it might be a good idea we can actually meet with the Little League representatives and discuss not only the crossing issue, but also possibly discuss laying some guidelines or some rules down that they can actually distribute to the parents of the children playing in the league. Obviously, one thing is a concern to the residents is the people that are encroaching on driveways and things of that nature. We will actually very clearly state that if that does happen, we will be policing that and issuing nice parking tickets at that location. But one thing that we have looked at is trying to find an alternative traffic plan or parking plan that we could help the Little League at least use to maybe distribute to their parents as well, just to kind of mitigate some of the concerns of the surrounding residents. I did look to see if we've had any incidents related to Little Leaguers specifically over the past 2 years. I will say that we did have 9 total incidents at that location over the past 2 years. Only 3 were related to kids that were actually playing in the league. Some of it was, it's parkers at that location. We had one alcohol-related complaint. So some of the complaints that we're seeing down there are not actually related to the kids, just the opportune time for people to actually park down there and things of that nature. But it will be a priority for the department to at least be very proactive on our patrols during the Little League season there. But again, I think it probably best we'll work with the Little League and have a conversation to see how we can best serve everyone to make sure that they feel comfortable and safe, at least walking through that area. And again, I'll meet with Mr. Elsier to see if there's any enhancements that we can make at that location that may be beneficial for pedestrians.
Sounds great. Thank you, Chief. Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah. Any comments from the commissioners?
I'd like to make a comment. Chief, if and when you do meet with Little League, Kate has a great relationship with all the Little League executive board members, or many of them. I'd ask her to be part of that conversation as well.
Very good, sir.
Yeah. Any public comments?
I'm Jeff Stainback. I'm the current president of the Little League. I live at 600 Crown Street. Katie let us know about the agenda item tonight, so we were happy to be here. Rob Silman's also here. He's been the facilities and grounds director for a number of years. Obviously, we're challenged with our space and the number of kids that we have, and we're coming back from COVID somewhat, but we're still about 3/4 of the way back from pre-COVID numbers. And I just wanted to be here to introduce myself to everyone, to the commissioners and everyone, to say I'm very open to conversations about what we can do and your help in helping to make sure that our families are following the rules. Obviously, as volunteers, we have limitations on what we can do. We do send as many emails and tell people as best we can, but if there are things that we can be clearer on or more helpful on to, especially for our neighbors. I'd like to say that at least I know I am, and I know the gentleman before me and after me, this is my second time around, have been responsive to our neighbors, especially the ones that are right on Fairhill, right across there. I know it's a tough spot, so we like to take those things seriously. But any questions that you have, we're happy to meet with any and all of you.
Thank you for coming out and for your comments and for offering to work with us. Very much appreciated. We all want to have a great Little League season.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. Any questions for me while I'm here? All right, thank you.
All right, any other comments? All right, thank you all so much. Let's move on to submission of State Fire Commissioner grant application.
Yes, I'm requesting permission to apply for the State Fire Commissioner grant. It'll be a $15,000 grant that we will utilize to buy gear and equipment. There is no matching funds from the township. So it's just free money from the state. And we've been successful every year I've been here, and hopefully we'll be successful this year as well.
Great, that sounds wonderful. Thank you very much.
We would need this to move forward for the full board to approve the grant submission. So if the committee's so inclined, we'll put it on the agenda for the March meeting. Chief has done a wonderful job in getting these grants in the past, and we take advantage of them.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Any other items? No. All right. Any commissioner comments? All right. With that, meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Parks and Recreation will be our last meeting this evening.
Can I just stay here?
Oh, yeah. I got you. do, moment. Can we get a moment of silence? All right, stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, I'll call to order the Finance Administration Committee meeting for February 9th, 2026. We have today myself, Commissioner Damon Mullen, Commissioner Jay Silverman, our Township Manager, Pat Stasio, our John Bates, our Assistant Township Manager and Director of Finance, and Alex, our Township Solicitor. So on today's agenda, are there any public comments, non-agenda items only related to finance and administration? Okay, so we will move on to the approval of the minutes from November. Need a second.
Make a motion, we approve the minutes from the November 24th, 2025 meeting.
Yep, so approved. So we'll move on to our monthly reports. So, John, is there anything you want to update us on?
Nothing. I mean, we're at the beginning of the year, obviously a little bit slower. We'll have more of an update towards the end of Q1 once tax bills and everything go out, unless there's anything pressing from those previous reports. Happy to look into any of those at this time.
I did not have any issues. I just knew it was November, December, and January on the packet, but yeah.
That is true. Unfortunately, I don't think we've met in committee since November.
So, did you have any questions then? Okay. So we will move to the next agenda item, the personnel appointments and reappointments. So we need to second and approve the appointment of the Tax Collection Committee for John Bates as the voting delegate and Pat Stasio as the alternate delegate. I have no issue with that. We can move that ahead.
Second.
Okay. The appointment of Susan S. Moran to the Historical Commission to fill the vacancy left by Tom Mert and serve the remaining 3-year term that expires December 31st, 2027. No issue with that. I'm just going to go through all of these and then we can second it. Then we have a reappointment of Jacqueline Cherpinsky on the Historical Commission to serve on a new 3-year term that expires December 31st, 2028. We have the reappointment of Gia Maria Montemiro, sorry about that, on the Historical Commission to serve a new 3-year term that will expire December 31st, 2028. We also have the reappointment of Arlene Rubin on the Historical Commission to serve a new 3-year term that will expire on December 31st, 2028. So I'm in agreement to move those ahead for the full board vote. You good? That Jay?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Then we also have the reappointment of Margaret Mullen Whiting on the Human Relations Commission to serve a new 3-year term that will expire December 31st, 2028. We can move that to the full board for March vote. And then we have the reappointment of Anthony Troth on the Parks and Recreation Advisory Council to serve a new 2-year term that will expire December 31st, 2027. No issue with that. We have the reappointment of Jennifer Jennifer on the Parks and Recreation Advisory Council to serve a new 2-year term that will expire on December 31st, 2027. We also have the reappointment of Maureen Winnick on the Parks and Recreation Advisory Council to serve a new 2-year term that will expire February 3rd, 2028. We have the reappointment of Jack Dunleavy Sr. on the Police and Fire Civil Service Commission to serve a new 6-year term that will expire on December 31st, 2031. We have the reappointment of Lynette Saunders on the Environmental Advisory Council to serve a new 3-year term that will expire on January 2nd, 2029. We have the reappointment of Donna Rosenbaum on the Environmental Advisory Council to serve a new 3-year term that will expire on January 2nd, 2029. We have also the reappointment of Alyssa Wykes on the Environmental Advisory Council to serve a new 3-year term that will expire on January 2nd, 2029. And then we have a reappointment on the Zoning Hearing Board of Anthony Corbett to serve a new 5-year term that will expire on December 31st, 2030. And then we have the appointment on the Hearing Board of Jennifer T. Mullen to fill the vacancy left by Sandra Richmond and to serve as an alternate for the remaining 3-year term that will expire on December 31st, 2026. So those are all of the appointments or reappointments that will move forward to the full board for next month.
Commissioner, I would just comment, I'm not sure if any of those folks are in the audience or if any of them would like to make a comment. If you are and you'd like to make a comment, please step forward.
Okay. And then we have the following vacancies. I have the following vacancies, and if you are interested in filling any of these vacancies, you can just send an email to Pat Stasia with your resume. So we have an advisory planning agency to fill a Ward 1 vacancy left by Jay, because he's on the board now, serving the remaining 2-year term that will expire June 1st, 2027. We have openings on the Historical Commission for those. Then we have 2 openings on the Human Relations Commission. And then we have a Parks and Recreation Advisory Council to fulfill for Ward 3. And then we have the Uniform Construction Code Local Appeals Board vacancy to fill the structural engineer vacancy left by Henry Sokolowski. And that is all for the vacancies. So we will move on to old business. So this is about the June Fate security cost reduction. Are the folks from the June Fate here?
Good evening. My name's Deborah Gates, and I'm a representative of the Abington Health Foundation Women's Board. Here tonight regarding our request presented at the November 24th, 2025 meeting, asking for support for the June Fate Fair and Horse and Pony Show, a longstanding community event that benefits Jefferson Abington Hospital. It's my understanding that even new commissioners would have received all the details of our request. Is that correct? Okay. So I'm certainly happy to go through those details if anyone needs a review, but I know you have a long meeting, so I don't necessarily want to do that if it's not necessary, but I certainly can take any questions about what was previously requested in November, if there are any additionals.
I have a question for you.
Sure.
Could you provide us with a number as to what the commission is looking for, reduction?
I didn't have a specific number. I know that, just I don't know what the township is capable of, so I really didn't have any grounds on which to do that. We have other community partners that are businesses that we do a lot of all of our work with, and we get a lot of donations from other people, and that goes anywhere from $1,000 to up towards $10,000. So I just don't know what the capabilities are of the township, and we would ask for whatever support that you feel is that you can handle. We, as I said, in the details, it's been a long-standing event. The increases in costs have come directly because of situations within the communities that are causing there to be increased risk for the June Fate. And so, with that being a community issue, that we're looking for additional support in covering the increase in those costs specific to security-related purposes. So I don't really have a number in mind, and I certainly can work towards that if that's something that's absolutely required. I was not sure that was something that was needed to make the request.
Yeah, I would say the committee would like to see some type of number what you're trying to work with.
Okay, all right, wonderful. I will submit that. One other piece of information that I thought was really helpful for you to have this evening that was not available when we made our original request was that at our January meeting, the Abington Health Foundation Women's Board committed to pledge $3 million over the next 5 years to the campaign for the redesign of the Emergency Trauma Center Center at Jefferson Abington Hospital. We had completed our previous pledge, and this is the new pledge that was presented and accepted for the upcoming several years. We're honored that Bruce Goodman has agreed to chair this most worthy $65 million campaign, and we're grateful for he and Judy's transformational gift to name the Goodman Emergency Trauma Center, currently only one of 2 trauma centers in Montgomery County. It's the only level 2 trauma center in Montgomery County currently. We're excited to support this much-needed redesign that, of course, will benefit this community by providing critical care in a timely manner. This redesign will provide for not only modern decor and the latest technology, but it will also allow for optimal efficiency and improved function in an emergency care setting. So we just wanted you to know what the proceeds of the fair over the next 5 years will be going toward. So in that case, we can all justify the fact that emergency care in our area and at Jefferson really does. They've been struggling. They're working their best to, with the unit as it stands, to maximize care and to maximize efficiencies. But the unit itself just needs to be redone in order to provide the proper care. And so that we've been working on. Jefferson has been working on that for a little while now, and has come up with plans for a specific redesign that will definitely address those efficiencies in care. So maximizing our proceeds from the June fete will go a long way to ensure that we're able to meet that pledge. So I thank you for your consideration. I will get numbers to you as far as what are, and you do have the financials as far as what we're currently paying for security, right? Okay. Yes. I will get a request to you tomorrow.
Thank you.
All right. Do you have any other questions?
I don't know.
No.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Oh, any other commissioner comments on that? No. Okay. So,
Commissioner, pardon me, if we get the information quickly, would you like to move this forward for an agenda item for the full Board of Commissioners at our March meeting?
we'd like to review it first.
Okay.
All right, so we will move on to new business. This is a tax assessment appeal between the township, the school district of Upper Moreland, and the taxpayer at Willow Grove, taxpayer Willow Grove SPI LLC, and Willow Grove 2350 ARC LP at 2350 Eastern Road.
Would you like
Whoever,
to
yeah, sure.
Thanks, Commissioner Mullen. So before the Finance and Administration Committee this evening is the proposed stipulation of settlement between the school district, the county, the township, and it looks like the community college is involved in this as well, and the property owner. So as we always give our spiel, right, there was an appeal for an assessment to lower the value of this property. That appeal was denied by the assessment board, and then a subsequent appeal was taken in the Court of Common Pleas by the property owner after a couple of years of extensive discovery and negotiations and appraisals being secured by both the property owner and the taxing bodies. The parties have come to the conclusion that it is everybody's best interest to reach a settlement rather than litigate this case. So before you this evening in the packet is the actual stipulation of settlement with the figures that have been agreed to. It will result in a reduction, unfortunately, for all of the taxing bodies, as you can read. But you as the Sub-Finance Committee are the last of the taxing bodies to have approved and signed off on the settlement agreement. So we present that to you this evening in the hopes that you move it to the full board for their final decision in order whether to approve this settlement agreement at the March regular meeting of the board.
I have no comments.
No, thank you.
Are there any commissioner comments? Okay, so we'll move this to the full board for March. Okay, any other items? Okay, that's it for the Finance Administration Committee.
Community Development Committee will be next, Commissioner.